A single decision in a narrow waterway can shake the entire global economy within hours. Oil prices jump, shipping routes freeze, governments scramble to respond. Now imagine that same choke point becoming the center of rising tension between two of the world's most powerful nations. The United States issues warnings, China pushes back, and in the middle of it all, Iran controls one of the most critical passages on Earth. The stakes are enormous, and the signals are confusing. Is this about security, trade, or influence? And in the next 10 minutes, you'll find out exactly why. The Strait of Hormuz is not just a line on a map, it is a lifeline. Nearly 20% of the world's oil supply moves through this narrow corridor every day. Tankers pass through carefully, watched by naval forces and satellites from multiple countries. Iran sits on one side of the strait, Oman lies on the other. This geography gives Iran a powerful position. It can influence one of the most important trade routes in the world. The United States has long maintained a strong presence in the region. Its goal is clear: keep the waters open, protect global trade, prevent disruptions that could harm the global economy. China approaches the region differently. It depends heavily on imported energy. Much of that energy passes through this very strait. For China, stability here is not optional, it is essential. At the same time, China has built strong economic ties with Iran. Trade agreements, energy deals, and infrastructure projects connect the two countries. These ties form part of a larger strategy. Now, tensions begin to rise. Reports emerge suggesting that China could be considering sending military equipment to Iran. These reports are not confirmed, but they spread quickly. The reaction is immediate. The United States issues a warning. It signals that any such move could have serious consequences. The message is firm but measured. China responds just as clearly. It states that it follows strict rules on military exports. It denies the claims. It emphasizes its commitment to international obligations. But then everything changes. A new development shifts the focus back to the Strait of Hormuz. Concerns grow that shipping through the strait could be disrupted. This is not just a regional issue, it is a global one. Oil markets react instantly. Prices move. Investors watch closely. Governments begin planning for possible disruptions. What happens next shocks the world. China sends a strong message. It states that its ships will continue to move through the strait. It confirms that it will honor its trade agreements with Iran. It warns against interference. This is not just about one shipment or one route. It is about principles, about freedom of navigation, about economic stability. The United States sees the situation differently. It views the potential transfer of military equipment as a risk. It worries about escalation. It signals that it will take action if needed. Now the tension becomes more complex. It is no longer just about the strait. It is about trust, about influence, about the future of global trade. No one saw this coming. Diplomatic channels become active. Officials from both sides speak carefully. Every word matters. Every statement is analyzed. Behind the scenes, another factor adds pressure. A planned meeting between top leaders from both countries is approaching. This meeting is expected to cover many issues: trade, security, regional conflicts. Now, the Iran situation becomes part of that agenda. But then everything changes again. The tone begins to shift. Statements soften slightly. There are hints of cooperation. Both sides express a desire to avoid further escalation. This does not remove the tension, but it creates a small opening. At the same time, activity in the Strait of Hormuz continues. Tankers move cautiously. Naval forces remain alert. The situation stays fragile. Then comes a critical moment. A warning is issued about potential disruption in the strait. This raises immediate concern. If traffic slows or stops, the impact will be global. Energy markets react again. Prices rise. Uncertainty spreads. China responds quickly. It calls for stability. It urges all parties to avoid actions that could disrupt shipping. It emphasizes dialogue. The United States also signals its position. It stresses the importance of secure navigation. It warns against any moves that could threaten the flow of trade. Now the world watches closely. This is not just a regional issue anymore. It is a test of how major powers handle tension, a test of how global trade systems respond under pressure. Then the situation reaches its peak. The risk of miscalculation rises. A single incident could trigger a larger crisis. Every move is measured. Every action carries weight. China maintains its stance. It continues its trade with Iran. It calls for calm. It avoids direct confrontation. The United States maintains its position as well. It keeps its presence strong. It sends signals of deterrence. It seeks to prevent escalation. This is the climax. Two powerful nations, different strategies, same goal. Avoid a crisis that could damage the global economy. There is no dramatic confrontation, no sudden resolution. Instead, there is tension, careful moves, quiet negotiations. And then, slowly, the situation stabilizes. Shipping continues. The strait remains open. The immediate crisis does not escalate further, but the impact is already clear. After the tension eases, the world begins to assess what just happened. Analysts study every move, every statement, every signal. One thing becomes obvious. Global trade is more fragile than it appears. A single choke point can influence economies across continents. Another lesson emerges. Power is not only about military strength. It is also about economic ties, about partnerships, about influence. China's approach highlights this. It focuses on maintaining trade, on building relationships, on avoiding direct conflict. The United States takes a different approach. It emphasizes security, stability through presence, deterrence through strength. Both perspectives shape the outcome. At the same time, smaller countries watch closely. They see how major powers act. They consider their own strategies. The Strait of Hormuz remains critical. Its importance does not change, but the way countries interact around it continues to evolve. Today, global trade depends on balance, on cooperation, on the ability to manage tension without escalation. This crisis shows how quickly that balance can be tested, and it shows how important it is to maintain communication, to keep channels open, to avoid misunderstandings, because the next crisis may come without warning. The key lesson is simple but powerful. In a connected world, no region stands alone. What happens in one narrow waterway can affect billions of people. So what do you think? Can diplomacy keep global trade stable in times of rising tension, or will competition between powers make future crises more likely? If you want more untold stories like this, subscribe, because history is never what they teach you in school.